morning and welcome back to Wild and Plum. Today I would like to talk about pom-poms. I've been making pom-poms using up some of my scrap yarn, and I thought I would show you how to use a couple of different pom-pom tools, as well as some interesting ways to make different kinds of pom-poms. So I made this one with two different colors. The colors are very similar. There's an off-white and a pink. I hope those show up well enough. I made this one with three colors, and I did it so it's sort of like, think of it as kind of a hamburger. This one's also with three colors, a little bit different so that the pattern of the colors is more random or variegated. This is just a plain old solid pom-pom, and here's one that's sort of speckled. So let's talk about pom-pom makers. I used to do pattern testing for the Firefly hook. Shout out to the Firefly hook. And when she found out that I didn't have a pom-pom maker, but I just made them like wrapping the yarn around my fingers, she sent me a pom-pom maker. And I got this thing and I'm like, how in the world do you use this? How does this work? These are pretty ingenious. So you open them up like this and you start wrapping the yarn, and I want to tell you, start wrapping from one of the insides. And let's just go ahead and do this, and I'll show you how. You want to start wrapping from the inside like this. Wrap it around both of these little semicircles. And the key to a good pom-pom is to wrap fully. You want to fill in this space with yarn. So let's get this all wrapped, and I can go back and forth, but when I start, I want to start wrapping here and I want to end wrapping on the outside. So let me get this thing filled. Okay, that looks pretty good. I've got that pretty much flush. Now I'm going to end over here, and the reason is now I'm going to close this side, and look, I'm ready to start on the other side. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, I've got that one pretty full. Now I'm going to close this side too. I'm going to go ahead and cut that bit of yarn. I'm also going to cut a length, I don't know, maybe 16 inches or so, and this is what I'm going to tie my pom-pom with. But before I tie it, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to go around and I'm going to cut right like this around all those wraps. It really helps to have a good pair of scissors. If your scissors are dull, this part of it will make you crazy. Oh, don't let it come open. Did you see it tried to pop open on me there? I'm going to cut both sides. Now this pom-pom maker is going to make a pretty big pom-pom. So it took quite a lot of yarn. Now the nifty thing about this pom-pom maker is there's this ridge right in there. I'm going to put my yarn in that ridge, turn it over, and I'm going to tie it in a super, super tight knot. I'm going to do it once as tight as I can, and then I'm going to do it again. Sometimes I even go and do it on the opposite side just to make sure it's really tied tight, because if this isn't tied tight or if it breaks, that's the end of your pom-pom. Now I'm going to pull these, well actually it helps to open them up. Open them up. Oh, I got one I didn't cut. And then this comes completely apart. And there is your pom-pom. Now, mine's a little bit misshapen. It's a little bit oval shaped. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna start trimming. Now I'm gonna have a mess of trimmings here. I would normally do this over a trash can, but I want you to see how I'm doing it. And I'm just gonna trim it until it's in a good shape. Oh, I like how this one came out. Look at how the color changes happened. Yeah, that's a pretty good pom-pom I've got there. And this is another kind of pom-pom maker that I just got. This is a little bit smaller, and there are two of them here. I love how they kind of fit together. But there's an orange one and a blue one. And they work very similar to the one I just showed you. I'm pretty sure these yellow pieces are just to be decorative. So you put these together. Let's make a really tiny one that'll be cute. So I'm going to pull these apart and I'm going to hold two sides together. And let me do this with some silver. I'm going to make a pretty silver one. And you do it pretty much the same way as the other pom-pom maker. You just have to hold these together, do your wrapping. And again, I want to wrap this fully. I want there to be no open space here at the bottom. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now I have to cut the yarn on this side. I'm going to lay that one down, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, that looks pretty good. Cut there. Now I'm going to put these two together. They fit together with these little nubs. I bet there's a real word for what those are, and I don't know what it is. Oh, come on, there we go. So fit those together. I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece of string that I'm going to use to tie my pom-pom together. And now, again, I'm going to cut. This one's a little bit more difficult to cut because it doesn't have that nice center ridge, but you can cut along either side of this raised bit. Again, I can't emphasize enough having good, sharp scissors. If I had to choose between which kind of pom-pom maker to use, I would probably pick the other one, the one that has the moving parts and that's connected together a little bit better. But this one's fine. It's a little bit more of a challenge. Part of that's just because this one's so little. But it works just fine. Okay, I'm having a little trouble with my scissors, so I think I'm going to cut along the top layer and then go back and cut the bottom layer. To me, this is the hardest part of pom-pom making, is the cutting. It's a little bit hard on your hand. It takes the most time. And I'm not getting this cut perfectly evenly, so I'm going to have more trimming to do at the end. Okay, I've got almost all of it. Now it's trying to come apart, so I'm going to push it back together because I want it to stay together until I'm done. Okay, I think I've got it all cut. Now I can do kind of the same thing here. You pull it apart just a little bit, and then you can fit your tying string in. Whoops, I flipped it right out. Okay. And then I'm going to tie it. By the way, don't use cotton string for tying. Cotton yarn breaks very easily. It's kind of heartbreaking when you get a beautiful pom-pom and then you pull it really tight and the string breaks. So use acrylic, use natural fibers other than cotton or flax or something that has a real chance of breaking on you. Okay, now I want to get a really tight knot here, so I'm going to just slip those off while I'm pulling on this. And since I don't have anybody else here to be my finger hold, I'm going to have to do it myself. But I'm going to tie that super tight. Try to get all of the little pom-pom strings out. There we go. Okay, now I've got my pom. It's really a mess though. It really needs trimmed. So I'm going to trim this. With these pom-poms, trimming them down really makes them look nice and uniform. However, you can over trim. I have trimmed these to the point that they're so small that you can see the string that I tied them with. It happens. Throw it away, start over again. After I get this trimmed a little bit, I'm going to show you. I think I'm doing the same thing that I just talked about. I'm over trimming this. Okay, you can see this one's so small and you can see the string that's in there, but let me show you a little technique that you can use to fluff these up. This is from a blending board. It's for carding wool and blending wool. You can use this, or you can use something like a cat comb and rough up your pom-pom. Just rough up and look what is happening. It is making it so fluffy. It's spreading all of the fibers, so instead of having yarn ends, you have this wonderful, wonderful fluffy pom-pom. And you can do that with any of your pom-poms, and then if you still need to do a little bit more trimming, you can do a little bit more trimming. All right, before we go, I want to show you the pom-poms that I showed you earlier and show you what I did to get those color combinations.